Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do day 5 of the Once Upon a Book Club Advent box. So stay tuned. So if this is the first of these Advent videos that you've watched, I definitely recommend going back and starting with day 1 so you can get the full experience. But it came with this book of the 12 days of book club mess. It's got 12 different short stories, one for each day, and there is a gift to go along with the story. And at some point in the story we'll get a little note in here that says stop and open your gift. So we have a box full of goodies, and I'm going to read you the story, and when we get to the time to open the gift, we will be opening it. So today's story for day 5 is Lumi Blanche by Tia Arian. It wasn't the girl's fault her mother fell in love with death. The heart longs for what it will, no matter the consequence. It was through no sin that the gifts the girl inherited were of the cruelest both life and death had to offer. To live was to be responsible for a bounding death. To be dead was to be trapped alive. It was a curse of neither life nor death, rather a wretched in-between. But that was years ago. Mother, have the chores been done? Lumi blinks away the flecks of rain gathering in her ink-black lashes through the open window. Her mother, queen-like, sits in front of her mirror. The lotions and tinctures are set up in a row according to their order. Lady Blanche takes a sampling of cream onto her ring finger and dabs it around her midnight eyes. She takes her green roller in hand and rolls its cooling stones on her porcelain skin to help it sink in. My love, you know those duties are yours, no matter the day. Lumi bites the inside of her cheek. Her mother was not of the inclination to allow any kind of disrespect. Rebellion would earn a glare that a lion would wither from. It was worth a try anyway. She stifles a sigh, and a silvery glint catches her eye. There on the edge of her mother's dresser were the magic relics and items that she was forbidden to touch. The short bottle on the very edge caught her eye as the black powder reflects silver. Star Powder was written on the front, and the impulse to use it was irresistible. She inches closer, discreetly tucking the bottle into a pocket. Yes, Mother, I understand. I'll see you at breakfast. Lumi gathers the heavy fabrics that make up her skirt and descends the stone stairs to the courtyard below. The stolen bottle of Star Powder rattles against the other item in her pocket. The icy winds rake greedy fingers up her skin and sends her raven black hair into a tangle around her waist. The chickens and pigs cluck and squeal in their cages, vying for her attention to get breakfast first. She carts the feed from the shed to the pens, ignoring the prickles that pop up on her skin from the cold. Gathering the morning's lay as she carries the eggs to the kitchen and puts them in the kitchen maid's tray. You're late. Why? The red-haired woman asks without turning. The girl plops down on a stool. I thought she might have done the chores herself as a birthday gift. You're an idealistic one. Lumi rinses her hands off from the water in the trough and starts to knead. The dough sticks to her fingers and she adds more flour. It was a foolish hope. She blows her dark bangs from her forehead. I know. The kitchen maid clucks her tongue and crosses the room. Girl, you're going to be the death of me with that hair. Ow! Do you have to twist it so tight? A loose bun reflects a loose character. Now you sound like my mother. An extra twist of hair for good measure. Is your mother the only thing that made you late? A smile crosses Lumi's lips as she clears her throat. You know, I've been singing over the wall for years. Much to the chagrin of Our Lady, I am aware. I'm also aware that it has recently caught the attention of a certain suitor. A smile pulls at the corners of her mouth. He said he's going to try to come by today, maybe tomorrow. The kitchen maid raises a slender brow. You know your mother would not be happy at all if she knew about that. That's why I'm not going to tell her, Celia. She's against any man that comes into the picture, and she would especially hate this one. She places the freshly kneaded dough into a wooden bowl and puts a towel over it to let it rise. He's a hunter. Not just any hunter. He's the hunter. Celia freezes. You mean the one that's claiming to be the son of the sea god? The one that killed all those wild beasts? Lumi beams from across the table. The very one. Gods, girl, for once I agree with your mother. No demigod ever meets a good end. They always die in tragedy, and anyone close to them is soon to follow. Oh, you worry too much. Trust me, I have a good feeling about this one. Celia returns to the stove, shaking her head. You and your whimsical circus of a mind. How do you know this is the same hunter? Have you ever seen him face to face? The girl grins. I may have only sung to him from across the wall, but I know it is truly him. She dips her hand into her pocket. I can prove it. Celia takes the food from the stove and douses the fire. She crosses her arms over her chest. I'm waiting. Lumi pulls out the first item, a bear claw. She raises it overhead with a flourish. He sent this to me from over the wall with an arrow. The kitchen maid raises an eyebrow. My dear, please tell me this isn't the only proof you have. Anyone could have purchased a trinket like that from the black market and claimed it as part of their own kill. She gives the older woman a look. I know that, but look, he engraved his name on the side, see? Look at it. What does it say? Celia leans forward and squints to see the word on the side. She sighs. It says Orion. But once again, I know, anyone could have carved into that. But here's where I will convince you. She digs back into her pocket. Everyone has been saying Orion is destined for the stars. Oh no, Lumi, you didn't. She pulls the black bottle from her skirt. I took some of Mother's star powder. This will prove it. Celia's blood runs cold. Lumi, don't. But it was too late. She takes a pinch of silver powder and sprinkles it on the claw. It lights up a luminescent gold, the sign of immortality. Lumi screams. The kitchen maid wraps her arms around the girl before she can hit the floor. The skin on Lumi's fingers deteriorate down to the bone in front of her eyes. Lady Blanche! Celia screams. Come quickly! A shadow darkens the doorway. Lady Blanche stands in black robes, midnight hair curling in tendrils around her porcelain face. What happened to my daughter? Celia cradles Lumi's head. It's her hand. Lady Blanche stares at her daughter's dying hand. The skin melted away, bearing bone, and decay fills her nostrils. My daughter, what have you done? She takes her from the kitchen maid's arms, folds her to her chest, and vanishes into the air. Lady Blanche sweeps the vials on her vanity into her robes. The glass clanks together, and she prays to the gods that they don't shatter. Lumi screams from the bed behind her, and she rushes to her side. Her daughter's hand is now half bone, and ashy black crawls up her arm toward her elbow. The lady frantically searches through the powders and potions. Finally, the clear green bottle is in her hands. Spring rain. She pours the contents onto her hand, infusing magic into every drop. She hopes, prays as the water begins to glow. She begs the only gods who might listen. Mother Hecate, help me. She throws her arms over her daughter's body. Thanatos, please, let our daughter stay. Lady Blanche grips Lumi's hand and lets her scream. For a moment nothing happens. Everything is still. The black ceases its travel up her arm, and the skin begins to grow over bone. Lumi quiets her screams, and as quickly as the decay started, life returns, and the girl sinks into sleep. Lady Blanche sighs in relief. Gods help me. She can't keep doing this. She's going to burn herself out. A spark of shimmering red catches her eye. She looks at her daughter's hand. Gods, what could have caused this? Celia knows the lady is behind her without turning around. What caused the decay? The lady's voice booms, and the kitchen maid leaves the dishes in the sink to turn and bow her head. She took your star powder, the one that proves heroes and immortals. Lady Blanche's heart stops. What on earth did she take that for? For this. She hands her Lumi's bear claw, the golden glow still going strong. The hunter, Orion, or someone claiming to be, shot it to her from the other side of the wall. She wanted to prove he is who he claimed to be. Lady Blanche takes the claw in hand. I knew this day would come. I just hoped it wouldn't be so soon. Celia purses her lips and sways weight from side to side. Young men are as vile as the beasts they claim to slay in most cases. But perhaps this one could be an ally. Perhaps he could protect her. The lady clenches her skirts. No, Celia. If this hunter is truly who he claims to be, he's the greatest threat of them all. I'm doubling the guard patrols around the estate. We need to make sure she doesn't get out for a while. You can't hide what she is forever. She deserves to know. Deserves to know what exactly? That she's been cursed by death? That it springs from her fingertips and yet refuses to touch her? That her body could one day die and her soul would stay trapped inside like a caged beast? Tell me, Celia. Tell me what she needs to know. Celia sets a wash rag down on the counter. It's a terrible fate, but she deserves to know. It isn't your decision to make. Lumi awakens to the sun dripping below the horizon. Her mother sits in front of a mirror, rolling one eye cream with her green wand. A pit forms in the center of her stomach. I am so dead. She sits up, trying not to make a sound. Maybe I can sneak out without her noticing. Good, you're awake. Lumi freezes. Rats. She relaxes her face, attempting to feign innocence. Mother, what happened? Lady Blanche sets down the wand and turns to her daughter, her face sharp. What have I told you about star powder? No. What have I told you about any of my charms? You are not to touch my enchanted items. Ever. You aren't. I'm not the right kind of magic. I know, Mother, I know. You often remind me. What happened? Haven't you looked at your hand? Lumi glances down and chokes back a cry. Her hand, though intact, is black as pitch and cracked with lines of glowing red. What is this? Lady Blanche stands and walks toward her daughter, the fire in her green eyes dim to a somber glow. That's what happens when the immortality of star powder meets someone with opposing magic. Lumi touches her hand. Despite its harsh appearance, the skin is soft as soot. She grits her teeth. What are you talking about, opposing magic? I thought you said we were all made of stardust. It shouldn't have hurt me. Lady Blanche bites the inside of her cheek, cursing herself for saying too much. She takes a deep breath and sits at the foot of the bed. We are not all made from the same star, my dear. My star powder interacted with your body's stardust, and you became like a dying star. Your blackened hand is where your body began to die. Tears well up in Lumi's eyes. Why am I so different from you? I'm your daughter, aren't I? What's wrong with me? Will my hand be like this forever? I'm sorry, Lumi. I can't tell you why. But there is nothing wrong with you. You are my daughter. There's something different about you, but I promise it's nothing bad. As for your hand, I don't know. It may go away. You can have my gloves if you want them to cover it up. Lumi sinks into the sheets. I don't believe you. There is something wrong with me. But I'll take the gloves, please, Mother. Lady Blanche kisses her daughter's temple. One day, I promise, I'll teach you about your magic. I just have to figure it out first. The next morning, Lumi watches the guards pace the length of the estate. Her mother added more men and intensified patrols to keep her away. She can't keep me locked in forever, she thought. As she would just let me have freedom, I wouldn't have taken her powder in the first place. Recklessness kicked up in her chest. She had to see him. She had made a promise. We will meet. Yesterday had been a disaster, but then she had tried to impress Celia. As long as she stays away from magic, she has nothing to worry about. Another guard passes by the wall where she plans to jump. I'm sick of these walls. I have to get out of here. She wraps her cloak tighter around her shoulders and tugs on her mother's gloves. Here goes nothing. She jumps from her window onto the balcony below. The weathered stones crunches beneath her shoes, and she waits a moment before moving again. She leaps from landing to landing, careful not to slip on the ledges that are moss-covered. Finally, the solid oak that overhangs the wall looms in front of her. Behind her, the sound of guards' shoes squish in the dewy grass. Without hesitation, she jumps and grips the lowest hanging limb. She swings her legs up and pulls herself to stand. The guards pass underway, chatting mindlessly. She crosses to the opposite side and lowers herself to the other side of the stone wall. After a brief count, she lets go and lands in a heap on the ground. The morning dew clings to the grass and soaks through her shoes. She slips them off. A smile creeps onto her face. Now, I have only to wait. Orion walks the length of the wall. The lady of the estate had not been kind when he formally requested an audience, but it was no matter. The singing maiden had promised to be awaiting him outside the wall where the oak tree stretches past the estate boundary. He paused his stride and takes a deep breath. It had been days, and he could do nothing but think of her, a fair maiden and her beautiful voice. He continues on the path. The birds sing from the trees. Even they could not compare to the melody that was her voice, he thought. The leaves rustle yards away from him. He pulls an arrow from his quiver, bow in hand. That's when he sees her drop from the hanging branch, her raven dark hair stark against her crimson cloak. This beautiful creature that the gods created. Heat flushes his cheeks, and he has to force himself to walk to her. With every step, he falls deeper in love. The sleek black dress against her milky skin, the lips as red as the most brilliant rose, and those eyes when she finally sees him approaching. A lesser man would dismiss them as brown, but gods, look at them when the sun shines. Men die for a gold as rich as the color of her eyes. He's a pace in front of her now, and he falls to his knees. Gods above, my dear maiden, I beg of you, tell me, are you who has sung me sonnets from across the cursed wall? The maiden laughs and sinks to the ground. Yes, my dear hunter, is it truly you who is my perfect harmony? Orion lifts his hand to cup her cheek, her soft skin a startling contrast against his calloused fingers. I am the one who sings your duet, and if I was not before, I will spend my life chasing perfection for you. The maiden smiles. The wind tosses her hair across her face. She rises to her feet. Stand. I want to venture the forest with you. He draws himself to full height, dwarfing her. He offers his arm and begins to lead her into the darkening forest. Neither of them notice the trail of dying grass that follows close behind. Lady Blanche bolts upright in bed, cold sweat trickling down her back, her heart racing like a horse. One thought screams in her mind. Lumi. She sprints to her daughter's bedroom to find her bed empty. Panic rises in her chest. Where could she have gone? She races to the kitchen. Celia had just started making breakfast. She jumps at her lady's presence. Lady Blanche, what are you doing here? I'm not ready to serve yet. Lady Blanche squeezes the kitchen maid's shoulders. Where's Lumi? Lumi? I haven't seen her this morning. I thought you might have given her rest because of yesterday. She's not in her room? Lady Blanche shakes her head. No, I checked. Something is wrong. I can feel it. Celia wipes the flour from her hands. I'll help you look. The guards insist she's still inside the premises. She didn't get over the wall. Lady Blanche paces in front of her mirror. They're wrong. I can't feel her magic like I should. What happens if she doesn't return soon? I pause. After yesterday, I'm not certain. Under normal circumstances, I would say she could last a day or two, but her stardust isn't stable. Who knows what could happen? Do you have any idea where she might have gone? Celia puts her hands in her pockets, a sinking feeling in her chest, not where but with whom. Lady Blanche freezes. You don't think she would meet the hunter, do you? She was very taken with him. I think he may be your best chance for finding her. Orion's hand fit so perfectly in hers. She hadn't noticed that her mother's estate wall was no longer in sight, or that a steady burn from the black in her hand had begun to crawl up her arm. He makes my heart race something fierce, she thought. His calloused fingers trace circles around her knuckles, and she feels herself unwinding with every spiral. My love, allow me the honor of slaying you a beast. Lumi smiles. It would be a privilege. Lady Blanche stands in the dark room. A large golden bowl glows in front of her. The water is still, clear, and midnight black. Celia wrings her hands from the opposite side of the room. Are you sure you want to do this, my lady? No, but if I don't find her soon... Tears well up in her eyes. Give me the claw. She takes a deep breath and closes her eyes, closing her fingers around the claw. She calms her heart, and slowly she says the words. Broken is the golden bowl, just as my magic without resolve. Show me who slays beasts worthy of star psalms. She drops the trinket into the water and opens her eyes. There she is, her daughter, arm in arm with the hunter, deep in the forest, alone. My love, allow me the honor of slaying you a beast. It would be a privilege. The image disappears and panic clenches Lady Blanche's chest. She turns to Celia. Bring my horse. She can't be allowed to see death. The dark horse rounds the corner, and Lady Blanche doesn't wait for it to stop, to leap onto its back. Before taking off, she turns to Celia and reaches into her black robes. She pulls out a white pouch. If I don't return, make sure Lumi gets this. Without a hat or a riding habit, Lady Blanche rides off into the forest. Lumi sits on a moss-covered stone, watching Orion from a distance. His muscular form moves through the woods with a feline grace. He nocks an arrow. She folds her hands in her laps, picking at the seams of her mother's gloves. She watches him. His back is turned to her as he scans the forest. He had heard rumors of a large beast lurking around this area of the forest, and with any luck, he would slay it for her. But it was silent. A branch breaks by her ear. The muscles in her back knot up. Oh, gods, please no. Heat curls around her jaw, and it sends a shiver down her spine. Please no. A low rumble makes her chest shake. Fear clutches her heart. Orion whips around to look at her. His eyes go wide. Don't move, he mouths. He draws his bow back and releases. A scream rings out from the creature, and a shockwave of pain lances through her body. Lumi collapses. The creature scurries over her body. A million little pinpricks burn across her skin. Her screams ring down in her ears. Orion shouts, and the creature gives chase. Its tail whips and hits him across the chest, throwing him into a tree. It hisses and clicks its pincers. Saliva drips to the mossy earth below. It turns to Lumi, lowering its body close to the ground, tail raised to attack. She looks at Orion, in a heap on the ground. Her heart pounds in her ears. Her blackened hand burns, and the glove burns away. The pain in her body spills out to the ground beneath her as it begins to die. The grass turns brown and stretches toward the creature's legs. It scurries back. To Lumi's left, hooves thump on the damp earth. Her mother's screams ring out. Lady Blanche launches herself from the horse's back and tackles the beast to the ground. It retaliates, snapping its stinger into her chest. Lady Blanche collapses. Lumi screams, her body still paralyzed. The black from her hand races from her fingertips and bolts like lightning through the ground. The monster scurries to avoid it, but it's too late. Death reaches it. It turns to dust. Lumi crawls to her mother, forcing her stubborn lips to move. Her mother's already milky skin becomes even paler shades of white. Her green eyes, once so vibrant, are becoming dull. Tears well up in Lumi's eyes. She grabs her shoulders and tries to shake. Mother, please, I'm sorry. Please don't go. Lady Blanche reaches up to touch her daughter's face, tears streaming down her face. My love, I should have told you. I should have shown you how to control it. I'm sorry. Mother, please don't die, please. I don't know what's happening. She clutches Lumi's hand. It's death, my dear. Don't fear it. Don't fear your father's gift. Take the horse and go back home. Celia will know what to do. My father's gift? Mother, what are you talking about? I should have told you. Please forgive me. I promise I'll forgive you. Just please don't die, Mama. Lady Blanche coughs a laugh. My silly child. Please go back home. I don't want you to see me like this. Lumi sniffs and shakes her head. No, I won't leave you. You'll die if I go. Lady Blanche smiles. I will die regardless, my child, but I will hold you until I do. Lumi says nothing but curls up in her mother's embrace. She waits. She can feel her mother's breathing getting shallower and shallower until nothing. Mother, no. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. She tucks her mother's raven hair behind her ear and brushes the dirt from her face. The red of her lips stand out more than ever. Come back, Mother, please. Power rumbles in the pit of her stomach, and she tries to take death back, to reclaim the power that she had let escape. Flowers bloom, the grass turns green, the vibrance returns to her mother's complexion, but she does not wake. A groan from across the way, and Orion rises from the ground. Blood cakes his arms and chest. What happened? Has it escaped? He approaches Lady Blanche. Oh, gods. He reaches down to pick her up. Lumi screams, don't touch her. Tendrils of black spring from her body and throw him back. Orion gasps for air. You're the beast. She glares at him from across the clearing. Don't come any closer. Orion takes a stand, and one of Lumi's black tendrils snap in the air. For a moment he looks as though he's going to try to fight it, but a shadow crosses his face and he backs away until he's beyond sight. Warmth envelops Lumi. The ribbons of black wrap around her like an embrace. Lumi. It's almost as if she can hear them talking. Lumi, my child, open your eyes. She blinks away the tears. A large man looms over her, his skin the color of ivory, and his ebony hair falls to his waist. The ribbons of black envelop him and wrap around his torso. They caress the soft white wings on his back. Lumi falls to her face. Oh gods, please forgive me. I did not mean to invoke you. The man kneels in front of her and places a gentle hand on her shoulder. My child, you did no sin. Do you know me? A nod. You are the great god, Thanatos. You are death, and I have enraged you. My dear girl, I am your father. You have done no such thing. Lumi finally lifts her head, this god's eyes. They were like hers. Please, if you are my father, bring my mother back to me. Thanatos frowns. My child, to die is to come home when the time is right. This is your mother's time. I will not bring her back, for she would be cold and cruel. I came because you need me, and to take her with me. No, please, please don't take her. The god stands. His golden white feathers drape the ground and tickle Lumi's skin. He kneels in front of Lady Blanche's body and gently offers a hand. Light rises from her porcelain skin, and the most radiant woman Lumi had ever seen stands beside her father. Her mother was beautiful enough to be a goddess in her own right. Mother, mother, I'm so sorry. Lady Blanche, in love and light, kisses her daughter's brow. My daughter, my innocent child, you have no blame. I should have taught you. The fault is mine. Mother, what am I going to do without you? She slips her hand into the crook of the god's arm. Go home to Celia, my child. She will know what to do. Thanatos and Lady Blanche both give Lumi one last loving look, and before she can utter a word, disappear into pillars of light, leaving nothing but her mother's shell behind. Silently, Lumi mounts the horse. She would have the guards come get her mother's body, but until then she knew that she would not be touched. Celia waits at the gate. Hope flutters in her chest when she sees Lumi's silhouette, but the hope grows heavy when Lady Blanche isn't with her. The kitchen maid wrings her hand, afraid to ask, "Is she—" Lumi nods. "She's dead." Tears well up in her eyes, but she forces the words out. "Send a search party out to get her body, please." Guards rush to her side and hold her waist as she slides down the side of the stallion. She stands tall until the men leave, but as soon as they're out of sight, she collapses into Celia's arms. "My child," Celia laments, "you've been through so much." She signals a guard and commands him to carry the girl up to Lady Blanche's chambers. "Wake up, honey. You need to wake up." Lumi's eyes flutter open, but her heart stays heavy. "It wasn't a bad dream, was it?" "No, my dear, I'm afraid it wasn't." She rolls over in her bed, tears stinging her eyes. "This is all my fault." Celia squeezes the girl's hand. "No, it wasn't. She should have told you what you're capable of." No answer, save for sniffing and a turned back. She bites her lip. "Your mother wanted me to give this to you if she didn't make it back." Celia offers the girl the soft white pouch. Lumi takes it from her and turns it over in her hands. She removes her remaining glove. The black on her hand had all but disappeared now. The skin nearly matches the milk white pouch. Now it says we stop and open our gift. So let me find the gift for day 5, and then after we open the gift, we'll continue the story. Okay, it's in this really cute little box that looks like a book, and it says day 5 on it. So we have like the jade face roller that her mother used, and there's like a little note in here. Let me see. Yep, the note is in the story, so I'm gonna save that for when we go back to the story. Cool, and there's like directions on what to do with it. Okay, so back to the story. Slowly she opens it and pulls out the green roller wand her mother always used to put on her creams. Lumi laughs. "Oh, mother." Attached to it with a yellow ribbon is a card, and with her looping cursive is written, "I may not be able to wipe your tears, but this has always helped me with mine. Listen to Celia now. She knows more of magic than even I. I love you, Lumi Blanche, my Snow White." The end. That's just sad. Why are these stories so sad? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I really like the box. The jade roller is cool, but I'm definitely going to be keeping the box just because it looks like a book, and I just love these. So what did you guys think of this story? Did you like it? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!